Okay, quick correction before going on. The Ivory Chalice should come into my hand. I will replace it with something I cannot use. I did spend my XP for it, 4 instead of the 3, and this is the 7th card I've drawn. So I just wanted to make note of those corrections. Alright, so we begin round 3. I have gone ahead and added one more wound token to Crom because he does have poison wounds, so unfortunately those you gain one new one in every end phase. And he is going to be the character I will activate first. Here is my starting hand. And I am going to first play the Howl of Triumph, giving him 1 extra XP for each victory, and I think he will be able to take out this Varg because I'm also going to play this battle tactic, which we've obviously seen before, but again, it does give him +3 whenever he attacks behind an enemy's back. So my goal is to move him away from the spider and up here past Groltar and behind the Varg. So to do that, I'll need 2 movement to move through the door. And I'm adjacent to 1 monster, so that's why it costs 1 extra movement. So 1, 2, and then I'm adjacent again. So 3, 4, I'm still adjacent, and then 5, 6. Space movement is 5. So I am going to play these 2 cards of Ipsi's Sideways. And the reason why is because she does have this magic bolt, this attack spell, which is similar to ice, but I like the advantage, the extra bonus here of ignoring an enemy's evade defense. And I don't like that as much as this special effect that this ice attack spell has on enemies. So playing these 2 Sideways for a burst of strength, and that will give him 6 movement in total. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, orienting himself like so, which now does allow him to take advantage of the Assassinate ability. So that means his attack is base of 3, plus 3 is 6 against the Varg's evade of 1. Even if we roll the attack die to help him, we should roll the attack die, excuse me. So if he were to roll a 3, that would give him a total defense of 4, meaning that he would take 2 wounds but not be defeated. So let me roll the die. The odds are in our favor. The only thing that we want to avoid is a 3. Anything else is a success. And it's a 0, so that's pretty cool. So we are going to take the Varg. And instead of gaining 2 XP for the Varg, we're actually going to gain 3. Now there are only 2 XP left in that stack, so if I'm able to acquire those before the end of this round, then during the 4th round, I could take cards here from the 3rd upgrade deck, which are going to be much more powerful artifacts. And I hope to do that so I could show you the way artifacts work. They work a little bit differently from other upgrade cards. So with 3 XP in hand, I can afford a number of cards here. A lot of which just are not usable by my characters because of the class requirement. I think Paralyze is tempting because it could be used by Ipsi, but she also already has so many powerful cards, I'm not going to prioritize that. Instead, what I'm going to do is to discard this. Now that's the 3rd card I've discarded, and I'm able to do so because I have the 3 XP that would have been required. And that does allow me to fulfill the Mentor quest. And you can see again that the Mentor quest says that it's triggered when drafting. Discard 3 cards from the upgrade draft area to place the Mentor in the dungeon. And then while one of your heroes is adjacent to the Mentor, draft 3 of the discarded upgrades. That's interesting. So I think what I will do instead is I will not discard Holy Flames because I could. It wouldn't make sense for me to draft that later because it costs a lot of XP and it isn't usable by any of my characters. But the School of Minor Teleportation is usable by all of my characters and it only costs 1 XP. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the group. So the 3 that are in there are Scroll of Minor Teleportation, the Gold Key, and the Sense Secret Door, which is also usable, and they are all only 1 XP. So that's pretty awesome. Whenever I'm able to draft those cards, then I will receive even more XP, a total of 3 that you see here. When playing solo, you only ever take the total. The division of the numbers there is only applicable to if you're playing with more than one person. Now, the rules state that I'll take the token, and I have to place it on a tile that is not the starting tile, and in which there are no heroes. I am going to place it right here. Hopefully later, Ipsy can activate, and since she would be adjacent to it, she could then interact with it. Hopefully I'll have enough XP for her to draft those 3 cards. But for now, I guess I want to see, I obviously have to replace this, and I want to see what the card is. If it looks good, I could draft it now for my 3 XP, or I could be more conservative and ignore it and keep these XP so that I know I'm able to spend them on these cards to complete the quest. Well, I guess first let's just see what the card is. Okay, so it is Assassinator. You would add to ranged or melee, and if you inflict at least 1 damage against an enemy with this weapon, then you may immediately inflict an additional 2 damage against that enemy. So this is awesome. It is too good to pass up, but it is also 4 XP, and I only have 3 to spend. So that's too bad. It is not going to be one of the cards that is discarded later, so that is definitely good. All right, so let me go ahead and see if I want to discard any cards from hand. These 4 cards I'm keeping for use by Ipsy, especially the Ivory Chalice, because that will allow her to remove some of her many wounds. So I don't think I will discard any. My current hand limit is still 8. So I'm just going to clean up these cards that I played for Chrom, and then I will draw back up to 8. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, 1 for Greltar. Another that could be used by Greltar. Another for Greltar. And 1 more for Ipsy. Okay, well, I guess I have a number of options. On the one hand, it would be really tempting just to go ahead and to activate Ipsy now to take advantage of her many cards. I could show you how a Burst of Strength works, and I could then go ahead and complete this quest. But I don't think I'm actually going to do that. But of course, before I do anything, I have to go ahead and follow the AI. So I'm going to go ahead and temporarily discard the Sylvan Bow. The Iron Golem is a really powerful pet. I'll let you take a closer look. Has a melee attack of 7 and can perform that attack up to 2 spaces away. Like all pets, it's a free attack, so that is really tempting. I don't know if I should take that or Assassinator. Since this could be used by anyone, I think I would take the Iron Golem if I'm able to get up to 4 XP. And at any rate, I do have to permanently discard the Holy Flames. And Shadow Mail would be usable by Crom or Graltar. That's pretty sweet card as well. So you could see already how these level 2 cards are considerably more powerful than the level 1. Alright, so the AI is telling us that the most XP monster will attack a character of that race or class. Ipsy is of that class, but she is currently defeated, so they cannot target her. Petra is of that race, so if we take a look at the board, I think it would be between the spider and the goblin, and I'll choose the spider because it has like a more powerful attack in the sense that it inflicts poison. So I'm going to go ahead and move that towards her. And I will exhaust it. Okay, so its attack is 3, and her defense is 1, so she takes 2 poison wounds into hand. So in total, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds, 2 of which are poison. So that's pretty bad. And did I apply its bonus? Let me just make sure. It has a base attack of 3. Plus 1 is 4. Minus 1 is 3. Okay, so I'm glad I caught that. Yep, she actually takes 3 instead of 1. So that's pretty devastating. But at least it's exhausted. Okay, so I'm still not going to lose the Iron Golem or Assassinator, so that's really, that's great. I think what I will do is try to have Graltar activate to go up to this tile to defeat one of these Death Fairies. If I do, that would allow me to place Castrom's quest. It would allow me to trigger it. His base attack is 3. He could probably afford the speed to gain 1 more for 4. The fairies have evade and not armor, so this part doesn't help him. And then I could play his Nunchaka. You may play 1 additional weapon this turn. That doesn't really apply to him. So that would give him 1, 2, 5 against their evade of 4. Means that they would only take 1 wound with a total of 3 health. So he could play a couple of cards sideways, like maybe Farsighted and Dark Recall. So that would give him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against 4. That's still not enough to defeat them. I think it might be better for me to go ahead and activate Ipsy because she has some more powerful cards. In order to do that, though, I do have to forego 2 of them in order to play it sideways to give her the burst of strength she needs to cast off a wound. I think I'll probably regret it, but I'm going to end up discarding, or excuse me, playing sideways Dark Recall and Protection. Let me just make sure if I want to play Protection sideways. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to play it sideways. That allows her a burst of strength. And what that means is that she can cast off 1 wound token in order to become eligible for use again to be not defeated. So she's going to go ahead. She powers up. She has a burst of strength. She casts this off. So we can stand her up. And now she is adjacent to the mentor. So let's go ahead and make sure we know what we need to do to trigger this. Or to resolve it, I should say. Well, one of your heroes is adjacent to the mentor. Draft 3 discarded upgrades. And I don't need to spend any speed points or anything at all to do this. I don't need a burst of strength. I don't have to play any cards sideways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that allows me to take not the Sylvan Bow, but it allows me to take the Scroll of Minor Teleportation, the Gold Key, and the Sense Secret Door into my hand. And I don't know if I'm going to use any of the... I know I will not use these two right now, so I'm just going to place these off to the side. I may use this. I just want to take a look at its text. So it says, spend 2 to instantly transport yourself to an empty space in your room or an adjacent room, even if it is not connected. So an example might be, I could move to this room. It's not connected because we've never opened the door. When you discard this card from play area, you gain 1 XP. I don't know if I really want to use this right now, although I think I should probably keep it in hand because it's going to be difficult later for my heroes to get to Castrum, and I'll have to place him pretty soon, so I think I probably should not play this. So I'm also going to place this over here. I think also Gold Key is one I just cannot use. There aren't really any locked chests on the board right now. I could play this in order to open up this door. Because there is no door symbol on either side, that means it's a secret door. I would have to be adjacent to it, however. So I may end up using this. So I think I'm going to, for the moment, just place this over here in her area. And I'd probably use Farsighted with her as well. And so I'm going to take Graltar's cards and place them over here as well, just so as not to confuse myself while filming. These are cards I feel like I definitely will be using for her. I should, before I do anything else, take 3 XP for completing the quest. Now, when you take all of the XP that are in your initial 2 stacks, that's okay. You could just continue taking more from the bag. So that does give me 3 more XP to spend, and unfortunately that's not enough for either the Iron Golem or Assassinator. But I think I can get there if I'm able to move up here to open this tile to bring her within line of sight of one of these Death Fairies. And if I'm able to defeat one of them, I do then fulfill the final requirement for Castrum's quest. And I could place him, but I don't know. I wonder if I could move her here. That would bring her adjacent to this door, and then I could place Secret Door, and that would cost 1, 2 movements. And then I could... She has 4 movement in total. And then I could spend the final 2 to remove 3 wound tokens from myself. So I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so she spent 2 to remove 3 wound tokens. So that is really great. So these 3 are gone. And she's back to only 1 wound. And I will spend her other 2 to move her 1, 2. But of course, I would still need 1 speed in order to make this attempt to open the door, which I wouldn't have. And I would need 1 speed to open up this door. So I think I will take that back. She's going back 1, 2. Oh, this is really tough. I had really hoped to play this, but I don't think I can. I mean, she could always take an easy shot at a couple of these goblins. And she could still spend her 2 speed to remove those wound tokens, but if she spends her speed, then she's not entitled to 2 attacks. Well, I think no matter what, I won't be using this, so I'm going to place this to the side. You are only entitled to 1 burst of strength, and she's done that. Let me see if any of these cards allow her to attack a second time. Well, I think I will play the Eldritch Staff, which does allow me to draw 2 cards. So let me see what that brings me. It brings me a card for Petra, which I place over here. And it brings me a card for Graltar, which doesn't help me. I'll place that over there. But it does allow me to add +2 to my ranged attack each time I make a spell attack. So if I use this magic bolt, for instance, the attack would be 6. Since this also allows me to ignore the target's evade defense, I had really hoped to get up there to be able to open this tile to take out one of the Death Fairies. Because they have high XP and because it is really important that we open that tile, but it's not going to leave me with enough speed to be able to play the Ivory Chalice, which is important because I'm obviously only 1 wound away from being defeated. So yeah, it's a really tough decision. Let me just make sure I'm not able to do it. So let's say I spend 2 speed to remove 3 wound tokens. Okay, so those are gone. So I have 2 movement left. I can spend 1 to move here. And then I think I should be okay. I could just spend 1 more to open this door, assuming that I orient this tile in such a way that I'm opening onto one of the doors and not into one of the locked spaces. So I think I can orient it in this way. And this means that I still have line of sight on this goblin. I think that's line of sight. I wonder if I think if I place it any other way, I'm in the same kind of position where I wouldn't necessarily have better or worse line of sight. could orient it in this way. And if I do so, I definitely don't have line of sight here, and this would be 1, 2, 3. I think I definitely don't have line of sight there, so I think I must orient the tile in this way, placing the goblins like so. And the rules state when drawing line of sight, you have to be able to draw a straight line from the center of your tile to the center of the enemy's tile without crossing through the wall. So let me move her character to the side, so it would be from here through. Yeah, it's a close call. I think I'm going to say she does have line of sight. But maybe before I do that, I'll just check the rule book one more time to make sure. Okay, so in consulting the rules, I do believe this is line of sight. So she is going to play her magic spell, and she hasn't played any magic spells so far. Any attack spells. And the Eldritch Staff says you cannot play a shield. If you time you make a spell attack, you can add that, but that doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that her attack spell here allows her to ignore the target's evade defense. So that does allow her to go ahead and take out the Death Fairy. Her attack is 4, so greater than 3, and she's ignoring its evade of 4. So she will pick up 3 XP from that kill. I'm just going to place them up here. Okay, and that does complete the last part of Castrom's quest. So defeat 3 zombies and or death fairies to place the entrance. So that is pretty great. We have totally completed this one quest, and we're now getting close to taking on Castrom. So I should probably think about where I would place his quest. I think when I was initially thinking about options, I was really hoping to be able to place the tile here in the center so that it was more easily accessible by all heroes. But I obviously cannot do that because I have heroes here. I could place it here, but that's at a far end of the board. I could place it here, but the door hasn't been opened yet. And there's also one enemy. Place it here, but the room is already pretty crowded. There are these 3 goblins. That means sort of like movement getting to Castrom would be super difficult. I cannot place it here because it's a starting tile. I guess I could place it here, so Petra is already close to it, and she could take at least one shot at him with the cards I have in hand. Plus, I think I'm going to draft that Iron Golem. I think Raltar should be able to get to it pretty easily. I worry about Kron being able to reach it, but he does have a movement of 5. Ipsy would also be harder for her to get there, but she could. I wonder. I think the disadvantage to moving this way is that essentially giving up on being able to open both of those tiles, each of which would cause me a -4 XP at the end of the game. So I don't know. I guess it's appealing to think about placing it over here. All of these characters can reach it easily. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that they'll be able to travel in this direction. Let me take a look at Open Secret Door again to see how it's played. So it could only be played by Ipsy, and it also could be played by Petra. But Petra only has 4 movement. So I was thinking, I guess if I could get her up here, but this spider is going to inhibit her movement by it cost her 1, 2, 3, 4. And she could try to open, then she could, I guess, open the secret door. If she played a couple of cards sideways, maybe to get movement. If she had the Boots of Speed, that would be a lot easier. She could come up and go here. But I think I'm required to place the challenge right now. I think I can't kind of draw out my hand to see what I have. I don't know. Maybe if anyone could clarify that for me in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. The way I interpret it is that whenever you trigger the quest, you have to sort of place the tile immediately. So it is hard to know where to place it. I guess I could place it here and then have her move over 1, 2, 3, 4, play some cards sideways for an extra speed point to then open this. And since this is a level 1 tile, it would be guaranteed because I'm gaining 2 bonus in my attempt to open it. And I could place it here, and that way we're all close. And maybe even if we're able to defeat him next round, we could have one of the final characters make his or her way up here. So yeah, I might regret this, but I am going to go ahead and place the Ancient Crypt here. And just for fun, I'm going to have Castor come out of his Dusty Crypt, stand upon the board. I do have to draw one of his cards, and we'll see what his... Excuse me, I want to place him here. Draw one of his cards. And his initial defense says immediately remove all spell effects. He is immune to control spells and cannot have his defense ignored or reduced. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to actually remove his figure so that I can flip this. Well, I guess I can't flip it just yet. I have to be adjacent to him in order to do so. So we know what his defense is. I think he will start attacking here in a moment after I complete my drafting and everything. But I'll see clarification on that in a second. For now, I know at least I'm choosing to place the tile here. Okay, let me go ahead and clean up some of this. These are my cards in hand. So in hand I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I cannot draw anymore, but I can draft, and I'm going to do that right away. Going to use these 4 XP. To draft the Iron Golem. I'm going to take him into hand. And I know I have to do the standard monster activation, so I think I'll go ahead and do that now before clarifying if he receives an attack now. Let me go ahead and do that. So, any exhausted monster refreshes. And the highest XP monster, which will be this Death Fairy, will make an attack. In this case, it's going to make an attack against either Crom or Graltar, and I think it would be Crom because it has the Alacrity ability. The Death Fairy always moves the shortest distance to make an attack and then adds unspent speed points to the ranged attack. So in this case, to attack Crom, it doesn't need to move at all. So its total speed is 6, plus the bonus of 1 is 7. And its base attack is 0 at least. So it is an attack of 7 against Crom. Against his evade of only 2 means that he is going to take 5 wounds. And that will obviously be enough to defeat him. So he has 4, and I'll just add 4 more to indicate he has been defeated. I'm not adding 5 because whenever he activates next time, he'll do a burst of strength to cast 1 off. And so the rules say that when you do that, you discard down 1. You discard whatever the extras were over the damage. All right, that's really tough. He is defeated. And that really makes me rethink, having played Protection sideways earlier, I probably should have cast that on Crom, anticipating that one of the fairies would be left and that it would target him. If I had looked at the card more closely, I clearly would have seen that. So that is a bad play on my part. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to try to understand if Castrum activates now and if he should attack. Okay, so seeking clarification on the quest, your hero has to be adjacent to the final enemy's quest token and then spend 1 speed point in order to reveal it. And only at that point would we draw a card for Castrum, letting us see his defense ability and his attack. So what that means is he's neither going to have any defense or attack at this point, because technically all we've done is just reveal the entrance to the crypt. We can see it's there, but we haven't yet revealed him. So before coming back to take my next turn, what I'll do is I'll take that first card I drew of his and I'll shuffle it back into the deck so that we could draw a fresh randomized card whenever we come to take him on. So we will see what happens. All right, before activating my next character, I will go ahead and exhaust this. Pull the next AI card. I will replace the Iron Golem. This drafting spell is healing spell that I've drafted is nice, but it cannot be used by any of my characters. However, I know that I will end up losing it and also Assassinator. So I think what I should try to do is get enough XP no matter what this time so that I could draft Assassinator for use by Crom before I lose it. Okay, I think I figured out what I'll do. I'll take Petra and I'll exhaust her. And she is going to play the Scroll of Minor Teleportation to spend 2 speed to go over here. And then she is going to spend 1 more, her 3rd speed, to attempt to open the secret door. If I add 2 to my attempt, that means I automatically succeed because this is only level 1. If you do succeed, gain 2 XP, so I'll go ahead and grab those. So now at least no matter what happens, I have 4 XP that I can draft Assassinator at the end of this turn. I am going to have her spend her 4th and final speed point to move adjacent. And then I am going to play Gold Key and Farsighted, both sideways, so that I am able to reveal Castrum's token. You can see he has a whopping attack of 9, speed of 4, health of a robust 9 and armor of 5. And that doesn't include any special defensive abilities he may have. So let's see. So it looks like we've drawn the same one again. So that's fine. So it does say, though, that he is immune to control spells and cannot have his defense ignored or reduced. Well, just using her base attack, there isn't any way she could make a dent in his 5 armor. But she can play this enhanced spell. It won't benefit my fellow heroes because they're not adjacent to me, but at least it will benefit her, although I don't know if I want to do that, because I think in some ways if she has that bonus of 2, that means her base defense would be 3, while as Ipsy's would only be 2, meaning that Ipsy would become the target. And I kind of want to keep her healthy because of how many great cards we have for her. So I'm actually gonna, I think, forego playing this. Although, you know, that very well could be a mistake. I guess I could also have them target Graltar because he has no wounds so far, and it's unlikely that they would be able to do a total of 8 damage to him. So yeah, I'll do that. I will play this, giving her a bonus of 2, and I'll just place these tokens here to remind myself of that. And again, her base attack does nothing, but it is a good thing we have the Iron Golem. The Iron Golem can make an attack. I can't pump up the attack in any way, but at least he can make an attack. So if I compare that attack of 7 against the armor of 5, that means I am able to inflict 2 wounds upon Castro. Okay, so Petra's attack was successful. She was able to inflict 2 damage by playing the Iron Golem. Now I am immediately going to spend these 4 XP, which I had in hand, to go ahead and draft Assassinator. It can be used by Graltar, so that is awesome. I will replace it with Forethought. So cards in hand are 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to go ahead and drop to 8, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The Boots of Speed. Yes, this may come in very handy. Going to place this near Graltar's grouping. So when he activates next turn, these are the cards that will be most helpful for him. But, of course, before we do that, we have to deal with the enemy AI. So we're going to remove these 2 cards. Inspire might be a good one, and it is eligible for Petra's use. Okay, the highest XP monster is going to go after the hero with the lowest evade or armor. So that's going to be this. It normally would be this Death Fairy, but this actually did activate earlier, dealing all of those wounds to Crom. So thankfully it cannot activate again, and we're being told not to refresh any enemies. So that means the highest would be the Spider, and the lowest XP would not be Petra because she has her 2 bonus, the spell that we had cast. So her total armor and evade is 3, total defense is 3. Graltar is only 2, and Ipsy is only 2. So since Ipsy has lower health, I wonder if there's any way this spider with a movement of 4 could get to her. Could spend 1, 2, 3, and then it would need to spend 4, 5, so it cannot get to her. Can this get to her? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it has to spend the extra here to move around Greltar. So thank goodness for Greltar. His big body is making it impossible for these spiders to reach the more fragile Ipsy. So let me think about what the best activation would be here, and I try to err on the side of for the game, what is the best activation? Well, I think the activation that would make life hardest would be if I were to activate this spider and bring it over this way. It could move 1, 2, 3, 4, bringing itself adjacent to Greltar, who has the lowest evade equal with Ipsy, but this is the one it could reach, because then it's going to make his movement over here much more problematic. So it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. It has an attack of 3, so he takes 1 poison wound. And just to confirm, it had no attack bonus. Next up, we do have to consider the attack of Castrum, which is sort of a unique one. Every hero within 3 spaces. So that would be Petra and Greltar. It does not affect Crom because he's defeated. It's like Castrum does not sense him. So every hero within 3 spaces must either here being the keyword, perform an immediate burst of strength, or else discard 1 random card from his or her hand. So that means I think what I want to do is to choose discard, because if I discard, then I'm keeping more cards in my hand to work with. If I played the burst of strength, I would have to lose 4 cards. Whereas if I do the discard, I am just losing 2. I hope I'm understanding that correctly. And again, if I'm not, someone please tell me in the comments. I think another keyword there is discard a random card. So I would have to discard 1 random card for Petra and 1 random card for Greltar. So I am going to go ahead and give a shuffle to this, and I will discard 1 card for each hero. So I'm going to take a second to place my phone down so it's a little bit easier to do the shuffling, and I'll show you what happened. Okay, so I've given my deck a good shuffle, and let's take a look at the 2 cards I am going to have to discard. And I'm hoping one of them is not Boots of Speed. Oh no, the very first card is Boots of Speed. Oh, that's terrible. I wanted to keep this so I could have Greltar play it so that he could both move over here and open this tile and take on Castrum. So wow, that really, really, really is too bad. I will discard it like so. This is still my D deck to draw from. And then the other one hopefully is not Assassinator. The Power Kick. So that is tough though, because it's still a 2 defense. So those were 2 of the worst cards. I think the one worst card I could lose, and then another one that really hurts. That's tough. All right, so I should then have 6 cards left. Let's take a look. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are the 3 that will definitely be used by Greltar, and these are 3, 2 of which he may end up playing sideways to give himself a bonus, a burst of strength bonus. I should go ahead and replace this tile, which I had been required to do earlier, but just never got around to replacing. So this reveals 2 zombies. There are a ton of zombies in the game, so it's a little bit unusual that we're only seeing them now. And the Fell Wraith. Take a closer look at its card with a special ability as well. Incorporeal. All right. Well, the only thing I did refresh the enemy AI. The only thing I have to do now is pull another card for Castro. And it says immediately place 1 zombie adjacent. He has +3 armor if there is at least 1 zombie adjacent to him. Okay, that is not great. And again, I think I should place it where it would create the most challenge for the heroes. And if I were to do that, unfortunately, I would have to place it right here, making it even harder for him to be accessed. Okay, well, let's see what we are able to do. I'm going to go ahead and activate Graltar. I do need a lot of movement to get adjacent. I could move 1, 2, and then spend 3, 4 to go here, but I cannot do that because I can't end my movement on a space with a hero. I could go 1, 2, and then 3, 4 here, but I can't do that because I can't end my movement on the space with a monster. So I wonder what I might be able to do. I really, really wish I had those boots of speed. They would help me so much. They would even allow me to go up this way. But as it is, I'm really in a bad position. I do have access. Well, no, I thought Assassinator could be played by Graltar, but it could not because the icons do not match up exactly. It really only matches up with Crom. Wow, this is really tough. I think all he's going to be able to do is to take out a couple of lower level enemies. I think it's probably best that he try to take out the zombie as opposed to the spider, because the zombie has an effect on Castrom's attack. It actually would help him heal a little bit. So, okay, I'm going to spend 1, 2 to move adjacent to the zombie. It has a lowly armor of only 1. And he has a base attack of 3. And I think I'm going to just play his Nunchaku weapon to give him a base attack of 4 minus 1. Armor is 3 health. And I think, could be wrong, but I think that's really all he's able to do. He's not able to do any damage to Castrum, which is what I had really hoped. And because he was positioned here, he cannot attack twice. Yeah, I think that's all I can do. Because I've defeated a zombie, I gain only 1 XP. So that really doesn't help me in terms of drafting. I think what I should do next is just go ahead up to the activation. So we remove the shield badge. Shadow Mail. And the highest XP monster, it looks like they would attack Graltar. The highest XP would, let's say, would be the spider. And it would add 1 to its attack. So it would move up 1 to become adjacent. And it would do an attack with a strength of 4. So 3 for its base and 1 for the bonus of 4 against his defense of 2. Means he takes 2 poison wounds. Next up, Castrum activates. He's going to do a ranged attack of 9. So he does not have line of sight here. But if he would move here, he would, but it might be more advantageous for him to take out Petra. He's going to move here. If we compare his range attack of 9 against her total armor of 3, that means she takes 6 wounds, which is going to just wipe her out. So I only add the difference to reach her max health level, which would be 3. She is defeated, and I do take a -1. And I guess before doing this, the one thing I should have done was either to discard or draw. But let's say I don't think there would be any here that I would actually want to discard. Even though Petra ended up becoming defeated, I feel like it would be kind of cheating now for me to discard. So I'll just keep those in hand and draw this back up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. I do have these 2 that I've discarded, so I can shuffle. Guess it doesn't really matter. 7, 8. So back up to my hand limit. And I've taken my -1 for her defeat. Oh, okay, so I can go ahead and draw a new card for Castrum. So we can see his defense and his attack for next time around. I will go ahead and exhaust this. Draw back up our new enemy AI. And with that, we have reached the end of the 3rd round. Unfortunately, both Crom and Petra are defeated. We've inflicted some damage to Castrum. We've completed the lowest level quest. We have yet to reveal these 2 tiles. So we have 2 left in the tile drafting area and 1 more from the master stack. As nice as it would be to open these, I think my only focus for the next round is going to be defeating Castrum. Because if I were to do something like play the Boots of Speed, using it with Crom next time around, he could come here, he could open this, still make an attack against Castrum. But the problem is then it's opening up himself to attack from enemies like the Felwraith or like the Gargoyle. And I don't know if that's going to be worth it. When tallying up your final score in the solo game, you do take 1 negative XP for each monster token left on the board. So I think it's just not possible for me really to defeat maybe any of these and also Castrum within a single round. So it's kind of like I would take -3 XP per tile if I play them, or -4 if I don't. And at least if I don't have to deal with the headache of attacks from these high-powered monsters. So I think that's my thinking going into the 4th round. I have all of these cards I've played under my heroes. I'm going to shuffle them, place them back here as my deep deck, I believe there are 2 of them that were treasures that give me 2 face down XP, so they'll no longer be available to me, but I do get XP. And whenever we start replacing cards from the offer, we could begin replacing them with our level 3 cards, which are all artifacts. And I had wanted to show you how artifacts work. So it should be an interesting final round.